Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Max. This is the RHMax show. Today, 100% uptime with surprise guest. Some of you may know who it is. Don't tell anyone else. Don't put it in the chat. Keep it as sort of kind of like keep it like a 10% surprise, at least for now. I talked about it on Twitter, but if you came to 100% uptime before, and we're talking about Hedron, you probably know who it is. So, and actually, we may have someone else joining us later on too. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but excellent show today. I'm excited for this one. And like Sunday, excellent show. And tomorrow I'll have Jake Sharp on. I think also be an excellent show. He's always a great guest. He always got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. But today, Hedron, Icosa, WAATSA, giving away RH trivia. If you know stuff about Richard Hart, who we'll get to in a minute as well, he's got some news on Richard Hart. You may be able to win some $1 million JPEG monkeys. Monkey JPEGs, same thing. Potentially in the future, they could be. Who knows? I don't know. Yes, crypto RHMax. What's up, man? What's up? Hope to see you later. Yeah, thank you. That intro is fire. I do agree. I 110% agree with you. That is again thanks to Markable, proof of Wells or Beard Only or something like that on Twitter if you're interested. I never can remember his exact Twitter because it's a lot of stuff going on. Thank you, Rich Wealth. Welcome. Stubtoe, welcome. Elon, we might talk about Elon. I don't know. Ask a Tesla question. We may be able to answer it. Bang, bang. That's always nice to see you, sir. Siggy Hex Dust, another regular. Appreciate it. Appreciate you showing up. Let's get into it. Surprise guest. It's Gifford.
It's me again.
Oh, gosh. This is like the fourth time. You are the guestess with the most appearances so far. I'm pretty sure.
That's awesome. I'll wear that with a badge of honor. Absolutely.
Just wear it out, man. We hope to keep those numbers up. You bring quality content to 100% uptime. And I know I was thinking the other day, I'm like, I should do, Gifford's at a point where I think I should do an interview with him where I feature him and we talk about his story, because I feel like I'm cheating you almost. You just come on, you do all this amazing work, and we don't know anything about you. I know people know about you, but like, I feel like I should honor you with like some sort of like full in-depth interview so we can get into this stuff too, but also like feature you more. So I think if you're up for it, maybe later on we'll do like a full interview, because I think you deserve it at this point. Like, I feel like you've given enough. Like you get your own interview in my book.
Well, I appreciate that. And I also wanted to say thanks for being patient with me and getting me on today. I know this is probably about a week overdue. But I've had a lot going on. I'm learning code, which I'm super excited about. I'm just about got my certificate in Python script. So getting close. So I've just been extremely busy. And I just want to say thanks for being patient with me and making this happen tonight.
Of course, man. Hey, and I know Python. So if you have any questions or want to shoot anything over, feel free.
Would love that.
I'm into the Pythons for sure. Surprise Gifford. Yes, Firefighting 82 is like, thank you for pretending you didn't know it was him. Thank you for pretending. Appreciate that. Hedron's on sale. Well, it's already been bought. Oh, see.
Nice.
Set up. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep wearing the shirt every time. Maybe that's a clue too. Every time you all see me wearing the shirt, you know who I'm talking to too. This is the Gifford Hedron shirt at this point. Thanks, Fitz. Yeah, everyone share it on Twitter. Tag both of us. Tag Gifford, tag myself, and retweet it and smash all those buttons, because this should be a very fun show. Again, we're giving away 2 no strings attached WAATSA NFTs if you're able to muster together words that are correct and fast enough to go into chat to answer questions about RH. So, what's up, Wendy's? Welcome. AC, yeah. Thanks, everyone. I've seen a few new people in here, so yeah, appreciate it. It's working. All of it's working. Yeah, let's get into it, man. You wanna present? And Gifford is like, he took over the show today. He did like slides for all the topics. So he's blazing today. We're doing something good. Oh, we're also going to talk about Zen. I know Gifford wants to talk about some as far as Zen security and like some different bad stuff going on to help protect people and stuff like that. So I see some comments about it. We're going to get to it, even though it's not HEX related, whatever. I know there's a lot of HEX into it. And yeah, I have no problem talking about ways not to get hexagons wrecked. So we shall get into that as well. Yes, happy birthday, Richard Hart. Happy birthday. We will be discussing that as well. But yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's take it away.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Where are we going to start today? Let's start by going over the agenda. So yeah, we're going to wish Richard Hart a happy birthday today. And what is he? Is he 43? Is
43.
that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right on. We'll talk.
Doesn't
HEX.
look a day over 65. I'm telling you, the last 3 years, man, he's got some city miles. The last 3 years, he got some city miles, man.
Man, I remember the first time I saw him, and he didn't have. I don't think he had any facial hair, and he had the long hair, and it was just like him and his laptop. And man, yeah, he has changed a lot over the years. It's cool to see, though. But yeah, we'll talk HEX, Hedron, Icosa, WAATSA, do some trivia. We'll talk the forks a little bit, Zen, and then obviously ask questions as I go through. Stop me whenever. And then Max, if you got anybody else jumping on that wants to contribute, just stop me. It's all good. This is all just fun stuff. Nothing too serious.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Oh, I forgot to rearrange the trivia. That's gonna be a problem.
That's okay. You can scroll, go back or something on it, right? You can false start. Gifford's gonna fix it. It's okay. Yeah, I'll say while we're here too. On the blog, Vets talked about always verify address, use multiple sources. I got a couple blogs I posted in the chat that literally cover every security scenario I could possibly find and think of when it comes to smart contracts, when it comes to dApps, when it comes to free claims and all that type of stuff. So go through, damn it, chat. Hi, HEX Auto, by the way. I love when I have my cursor there and I click and then chat scrolls up and I click the wrong comment. That happens so much. But so anyways, StreamYard fun. But anyways, check out the links if you all want some information on how to verify those the stuff and use sources. Win wrench soon. When I get a break here, I will come back and I will wrench you, sir. You shall be wrenched. It's like being been watching Game of Thrones, rewatching it for the third time, and so I got knighting. I got all that stuff on top of my head. Got a lot of injustice going on in that show too, but it's a great show.
Are you watching House of the Dragon?
No. I watched 15 minutes and I said that is trash and I turned it off.
Oh, it gets pretty good. I
can't do it. At the first 15 minutes, I'm like, I can't. Maybe I'll try it again someday. Now that you said
there you go.
You're a credible resource, but
that's right.
Can't do it. I can't be like, first 15 minutes killed it for me. But anyways, we will. Maybe I'll give it a try sometime. Back to happy birthday, Richard Hart.
I know this was technically the HEX birthday, right? This is from year 2. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. In the UK, they had a huge birthday party. Richard showed up in a gold, I'm sure some expensive brand coat. Lots of ladies and gentlemen around with a huge HEX cake. That was a 2-year anniversary, coming up on the 3-year pretty soon, December 2nd. October 9th. Richard is 43. I'll just say real quick, and I'll let Gifford pay his dues as well. But not that Richard died or anything, but say his piece. I don't know how to talk about birthday happy stuff. I guess I'll say that. Thank you for saving people from the G-Gen unfair crypto world. Seriously, the meat grinder of crypto has been avoided by so many people that have been in the HEX community. So thanks for giving us a chance at financial freedom. Really, really appreciate it, RH. Uncle Richard, as I refer to you from time to time. You're quite a little bit older than me. So I hope you have a great one, and I hope you have a very, very pleasant birthday. And I know your favorite thing in the world are girls, so hope you have some nice girls to spend it with, and you all have a great time.
That's awesome. And one thing he had mentioned on his most recent stream is he was like, what other community talks about the dates, when they got into something, based on how many days HEX has been alive, right? How many days since the launch day of HEX? Me and all the guys I've onboarded and the guys that I talk to on a regular basis, that's how we first start talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, I was in on day 300 or day 400 or day 1 or whatever. And he brought up a really interesting point. It's like, yeah, for real, what other community talks about that? like in that fashion. It's pretty
They
sweet.
they don't do sacrifice phases. They don't. I mean, I don't see a lot of local meetups and stuff. Seriously, we are in this bubble. I mean, we're obviously in this bubble of like the Hex community. But even if you zoom out, even though we're not the biggest community, we are the most fervent. Like we're the most like exciting. I mean, during a bear market, you see. I mean, there's a lot of drama and stuff going on too. But I've never seen so many people being so excited during a bear market than Hexkins and PulseKins and everything. So it's amazing.
It's all been so wild. Like if this, like I was around in the last bear market, like, pre-Hex launch, I was like loading up on all the typical coins that we saw back then, majority Bitcoin, right? And when that bear market came, man, I rarely checked the chart. I stuffed away my Bitcoin and I would just look down every once in a while and see where it's at. Maybe I DCA in a little bit. But I wasn't involved with, watching regular YouTube streams or watching or following people on Twitter and seeing what they're saying. It got really boring. Like it was a really boring bear market for me. This bear market is just completely different. I mean, there is constant education happening. There's meetups, right? There's events. There's new protocols being built on top of Hex. There's just constantly new stuff to learn, and it's been sweet.
The best bear market I've ever seen, for sure. Cool. Yeah. Happy birthday, Richard. And thanks for everything you do. Ooh, someone else who will bring in a minute or so too ended up jumping on. But yeah, let's get into the live stream recap. Where do you want to go on that one, Cliff?
Well, we've already mentioned a couple of things, but I think probably what I found most interesting was basically that they're forking the ETH proof or ETH proof of stake chain, right? And I thought that was really interesting because he had mentioned how, if other things come down the road, such as sharding, that all that could be upgradable into PulseChain, right? And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, because I've been watching the roadmap of Ethereum for a while now, well, essentially since I've gotten into Hex. And I find sharding to be really interesting. And I think it's worth just doing a really quick kind of rough overview of what that looks like.
Yeah.
So let's see here. So this is just kind of some stuff that I got from the Ethereum website, right? Their homepage, and some interesting stuff that sharding does is it allows, instead of doing like all the data on one transaction that is being done like distributed via the nodes, right? It actually breaks data down so each node can hold a portion of that data, and thus it pulls the workload off of just having one node dictate it, if that kind of makes sense. So the sharding process is basically, so it's splitting a database horizontally to spread it out, so that sharding will work synergistically with layer 2 rollups by splitting up the burden of handling the large amount of data needed by rollups over the entire network. So this is supposed to reduce network congestion and increase transactions per second. I know what a lot of people are probably thinking right now is like, when PulseChain comes, like none of this is going to be an issue, right? It's already going to be super fast, and the network isn't really going to be congested because there's just a lot more throughput in it, right? But I think another important thing that you also need to keep in the back of your mind is that Richard Hart has also mentioned, like with mass adoption of PulseChain, like we could see the same thing happening that we saw happen to Ethereum, right? Like the more popular it gets, the price goes up, which is awesome, right? Because all of us are going to be making tons of gains off of the PulseChain price going up in all the other coins in the ecosystem. That's great, but as that price goes up, then the cost of the what's it going to be called? Beats? Is it beats on PulseChain? The lowest increment of a pulse is a beat, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's been a long time since I heard the nomenclature. But
yeah, so I think you're gonna have to pay in beats, and as the value of those beats go up, then so does your transaction cost, right? And over time, like if we're expecting this mass adoption into PulseChain, like I am, future upgrades are going to be very important. And now that PulseChain is going to be able to get those, they can pick and choose. Like they don't have to take all the upgrades, right? Like they're going to be completely in charge. Like Richard and his dev crew is going to be completely in charge on what upgrades hit the market and what doesn't, right? And I think this is absolutely amazing. I mean, he already has the best devs, right? He already has a culture of just, building things that just work and they do exactly what they're supposed to do. But to be able to add extra open source code when they need it to be able to launch faster, like or to implement faster, I think that's just amazing. I think that was something that went well under the radar of most people as they were watching the stream on Saturday. So I just wanted to emphasize that a little bit. What do you think about all that, Max?
Yeah, I mean, when he said it, it really didn't sink in for me until like, oh wow, okay. But then I gotta admit, my first thought was, and of course afterwards he says, doesn't matter, it's not going to delay or anything. My first thought was like, oh god, there's another thing that we just had to change, and now, I mean, there's obviously going to be some sort of delay. Now we don't know where we're at in the process right now, but obviously you can't just use all of the thing without there being, I hope that, it was super planned, that it was like right up to it. Okay, we know where they're going to fork. We know we're going to use the new code. He just didn't tell anyone about it. But again, not that it matters. Not that, again, I don't care when it comes out, blah, blah, blah. But like it's not going to, using ETH versus BSC is not going to come out faster. I'll say it that way. So that was my only thing, was like, okay, I know this is good for the long term. I know this is the right way to do it. But I'm just like, I just felt for everyone who's like, everyone who's like kind of catching their breath, thinking about these updates, thinking of when things are going to come out, they're going to like, they just probably sunk in their chair a little bit, but whatever. And then testnet v3, that was something I've been talking about for a few months now. Like, obviously there's going to be testnet v3. You can't have all these changes. You can't have the security testing, all the different security testing that happened, and just be like, whoop, I think we're ready to go. I think there's no way we get this long. We're waiting, and Richard's just gonna be like, well, I think it's cool. I think we should push it. Like, I knew there's always gonna be a testnet v3, or a 2B, or whatever was speculated on a while back. But yeah, it's interesting because the validator, no more voting and stuff like that, unless something changes, unless we implement the features ourselves as far as that goes. That's going to be, I wonder, and I don't think this will shake out for probably a little bit longer. But just knowing how that affects, I know a lot of people in the community were excited for, the delegated portion and having their validators being voted number 1 and number 2 and all this stuff. The gamification around that, I thought that was pretty fun. Not that it would last like, forever or anything, but that's going to take a minute to kind of, for people to get their heads wrapped around too. And David Feeder did a video yesterday where he talked a little bit about this too. So it's interesting. I'm not sure. I guess it's good news again long term, and but it's just kind of a little bit of okay, we're gonna be here for a while. I'm gonna be here for a while anyways, but I don't think it sped the process up. I'll say that.
Well, I think that would be assuming a lot to say that it's gonna give any sort of meaningful like delay on the launch. I'm still in the boat of, when it launches, it needs to be the best product that we could possibly have at that point in time. And then at that point in time, like if there's an issue with delegators, like that'll be sorted out. Like that'll all be sorted out. Like if that's what he wants, he can do that. Like that's not a problem. And then going forward, we just got to make sure that we're keeping our eye on the prize here, right? And that's going to be 100% uptime, right? So we got to make sure that they're going to make sure that it's the best product that they can put out at that point in time. And they will allow upgrades, real good upgrades as time goes on too, that will hopefully be just flawless and will just synchronize just right. So totally I wouldn't worry too much about it. And then also keep in mind, so back to the testnet, like when V1 came out, from V1 through V2B, like at least at the very start when V2B first came out, the communication was pretty excellent between the devs and the community members on GitLab, right? Like there was a lot of conversation going back and forth. There was a lot of bugs found, a lot of bugs fixed, a lot of merge requests, that sort of thing. And I don't see any reason why that line of communication doesn't ratchet right back up again once V3 launches. When V3 launches, there's going to need to be a lot of communication between anybody running a validator and the core team, right? So that's going to be necessary. we're going to see there's going to be a lot of things brought to light before we see mainnet because of that. So right now we could try to predict what we're going to see on mainnet, but really we could just wait. Just when V3 comes out, we're going to get a lot of our questions answered.
Definitely. That's going to be, that's going to light a fire under everyone. V3 comes out, then we know we're a lot closer than we used to be. Like I said, short term, kind of be nice if there was another delay, but long term, definitely the right move. We'll be able to take, all the upgrades from E2 2.0, all that stuff. So I think it's great long term. It's just when you're watching it and you're like, oh, updates, PulseChain, they're like, oh, we're switching an entire new thing, and we knew how long it took for the last thing to switch over. And I'm like, not the best news in the moment, but you got to look at it from perspective of when this stuff comes. I mean, there's a lot of people, again, I see it in the comments all the time, people complaining, oh, where's the refund, Richard? Richard, give us a refund. Like all this stuff. I'm like, when it comes out, what are you going to think of all the things you said? Like, what are you going to think of all the, all the just dreariness and all the gloominess and all this, it's never going to launch, all this stuff. Like, it's going to launch. And when it comes out, you're going to feel real bad that you were just like hating on it so much. Like, it's going to be amazing. So anywho, can't force the community. I like that too. He did talk about that. That is something that's just the most impressive thing I think I've ever seen is this community. So
yeah, I mean, he was like, number one thing in crypto security, and then strong community. And one thing I quoted him out here, I'm more impressed with the community than I am with flawless software, which is pretty sweet. Like he was being real and genuine when he said that too. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into HEX.
Yeah, let me, right before we get into the next segment, we got a special guest that has decided to grace us with his presence. I just want to get him in before we go much farther. Crypto GFX, welcome to the show.
What's up, boys?
What's up, Graphics?
Yo, good to see you guys. Hey, thank you for gracing me with the invite. Dude, this is, of course. It's been a minute since we've been all together, so this is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to hanging with you guys.
I was literally like, I didn't think you were going to come. I was like, yeah, I'm going to send the invite. He said he may be busy. I'm not going to expect anything. I have no expectations. And then you show up and it's just, oh, God, I got to get him in. Let's do this. So yeah, good to see you, man. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Man, good to see you too. Good to see you too, Gifford.
I mean, yeah, you too. It's been a minute.
When I say it's been a while, it's like I think I watched 2 of your videos today. I watched the Maxi interview recently, Dip Catcher, and I watched the live stream earlier. So it's like I say it's been a while, but like I don't know. When you see somebody on the stream, it's kind of like, oh, I haven't talked to you, but I've seen you talk. So it's like this weird thing too. So.
It is weird. Hey, yeah, you feel like you see everyone all the time, but you really don't ever. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Well, you guys got a full show for us tonight. So let's what do you want to talk about HEX, Giff?
Yeah, and Graphics, jump in anytime, interrupt, ask questions, throw in your comments, your spin, like whole 9 yards. We're just having fun here, man.
Yeah, let's go. Sure.
So this is just mainly a quick shout out to Crispy Man and hexfire.io. Yes. You probably can't see it down at the bottom of the screen, but his Twitter handle is @crispy_man2 and hexfire.io. I really love what he's doing with his website. I think it was absolutely amazing when he had posted the anticipated share ratchet up this last time. So I think this was around the second week of September, right? That he was calling for that jump, and then sure enough, I mean, we saw the jump. Like it's following it to the T. And I thought that was some amazing stuff there, because we've always talked about how the T share rate only goes up and to the right. Mm-hmm. It never goes down in terms of HEX. So thus, like, we always had that pictured, and we're always like, oh, that's a very powerful feature. But to actually lock it down as, hey, when these big stakes end that have massive APY, that's when we see the HEX rate really ratchet up and jump up a lot overnight. And then actually map that out the way he has so that we can all consume this, on his website. I just think it's awesome. I think it's great. Hopefully he's in the chat, because that's awesome. So
he may be on a future show. He may be.
Good
that
deal.
Would be dope, man.
Good deal.
He deserves some spotlight, some recognition for this. Like the amount of data that we've been able to how much we've been able to utilize this in all through all the ecosystem for even just Hedron and Icosa and how things are going to work in the future. Oh my God. Like, dude, Crispy man, if you're watching this, thank you. Like this stuff you've done is crazy. I can't imagine how long it took you to figure out how to do it. And then the upkeep of it. Amazing, man. Amazing.
Yeah. Huge shout out. I love anyone who's building stuff around HEX, building on HEX, derivatives included. But if you're building a website that is able to display data that gives people the information they need to make key decisions, you are a valuable member of this community and you have utility. And we love people like that.
Absolutely. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back, guys.
Yep. Okay. So now we'll see that we're, make sure this is all working here. Yeah. So we're right here. Can you see that? No. Can you see that? There we go. Yeah. So we're right here. So that's where we're at. And we've got another hike coming up. And this is, another daughter address mainly, I believe. That's why you see kind of this split in this white area right here. See this kind of split here? This is just kind of anticipating different actions that we may see, right? Mm-hmm. So basically the long and the short of it is we got another hike coming. And what is that? What implications are going to come from that? Like we've already saw what the implications are in terms of Icosa. But also, are we going to see more HEX being staked? Are we going to see people actually starting to use this data that we're getting to front run these spikes in the T-share? What do you guys think?
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't. I wonder if people aren't using the data already, are they just doing other strategies that are just so far in the future that they're just not paying attention to the share rate? Is there I just can't believe that if people who, I don't know, I guess you could say not everyone who has a huge bag of HEX, not every whale would be someone who is crunching these numbers and stuff. Although if I was that big whale, I'd probably have a team of people crunching these numbers for me, along with being in the loop myself. But I don't know. I think having this chart I guess my question too would be will this chart enable people to make moves they would never even made before? So it even changes over time too. I don't know. What do you think, graphics?
I wonder how many people actually look at the data like this and actually utilize it. I wonder how many people are just they're understanding the HEX to the degree they can and maybe not crunching the numbers and not looking strategically at when's the best time versus the spikes in the share rate to actually stake. I don't know what that looks like. I mean, it would make the most sense. If you're trying to make the most money in this game, and you really, really, really want to do it, it makes sense to, learn this. Make a strategy, watch the share rate spikes, take advantage of every opportunity you can to get the lowest share rate before it jumps 500 HEX potentially, but at the same time, I think about how long it's taken for many, many, many people to really understand HEX, and I think that same dilemma applies. So I hope people pay attention, but I don't think enough people are really using the data for how it should be, honestly, at this point.
I guess gift to the question would be how could you, seeing this chart, seeing this data, seeing the lines and maybe being able to see some trends over time too, and see some new stuff coming up. Maybe after people see this, they make different decisions. How would you use this data to make different moves, or would it inform you of doing something that you otherwise wouldn't know how to do? I guess for the people in the chat watching this too, kind of wondering what is this telling me?
Well, let me start with this. I think tracking this data will make it very clear to anybody who's paying attention how violently the T-share rate can ratchet up. And I think it would be a little naive to assume that it's going to stay at this rate. I find that the T-share rate is slowly getting a little more aggressive. And I don't think it's going to always be that way. But as the first stakers, day 1 through day 30 stakers, were putting out their ladders and they were going out 2, 3, 4 years, I think we're going to see those rates really jump up even more. And I think there's a lot of potential that people are leaving on the table by not paying attention to this, because all they look at is the HEX price chart. And that's all they care about. And that is very important. Don't get me wrong, but let me quote Richard Hart on his views on this, right? And I've tweeted about this. He said that the only chart that's more impressive than the HEX chart is the T-share rate chart, right? especially if you look at it in dollar terms. Which and there's a correlation there, and I'm glad Wendy's is here because I DM'd him like over a year ago. I'm still waiting for that response, by the way, about because there was some talk about the correlation early on about what's the correlation between the T-share rate and the price of HEX. Well, it's pretty simple when you break it down, right? Because one is derived from the other. Like if you want a T-share, you have to sell or you have to burn HEX in order to get the T-share, and HEX has a price in dollars. So because they're all connected, the HEX T-share, or let's call it the B-share rate in dollars, and we're going to get to that with Icosa, the B-share rate in dollars is correlated to the T-share rate, right? Because of this fact, this fact. So these correlations are really gonna show us just how bullish we should be on the T-share rate system, just in general. Like it was a fantastic innovation, and it's something to this day. You know, I'm 2 years in, over 2 years now into HEX, and it still fascinates me every time I look at it. And the equations are insane too. I had to use some of the equations, like the longer pays better and the bigger pays better equations in my spreadsheets. Yeah, they're pretty intense. They're pretty intense equations. So nothing short of genius. So anyway,
is there something that, like, you want to, before the new, I guess, advice to people who are out there and maybe they have dry powder, maybe they're looking for the best time to get into HEX. I don't know, they haven't seen it yet. Like, does this chart show them something different of like, okay, does it create more of an urgency to get it in before the new share rate comes and stuff, or like how would you?
It really needs to create a sense of urgency. And you know, before we've seen before Hedron, let's put it that way, before Hedron, it was a little scary to stake out 15 years, especially in a protocol, especially when I was in it first couple months. You know, and it's like, we don't really know where all this is going. I haven't gone, it takes time to really learn a protocol this complex. And it's very complex and very simple at the same time, right? But it takes time to learn all this. But post Hedron, like the added utility we get with Hedron should make the 15-year stakes a no-brainer. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more later on as well. So this is all leading somewhere.
Okay.
So let's jump to the next one. Just a quick look at the Hedron chart. So what's really interesting is last time I was on the 100% uptime, I think we were just bouncing right off of here. And I had thrown this block in here and I said, hey, this is just an important area to keep an eye on. And the reason why I highlighted this area is this was the area where the Hedron deployer address deployed its liquidity, right? It was providing liquidity, given a lot of it is V2, right? Which doesn't have a set range, but some of it was V3. And this range right here it started being implemented right in, so it first started going in right here. So this is where the first liquidity was placed. So right here, it gave some support here. And then we were kind of off to the races. But then as the sell-off comes, which when any chart goes parabolic, you got to expect a pullback. When that pullback came, it teased it again. It actually came right down into it and just kind of bounced through it. And I thought it was interesting to see that. Now, when I posted this, I wasn't trying to tell everybody, hey, trade this chart, right? Like, I'm an expert at TA. No. I'm just tracking what I find to be what I think is important, right? And whatever happens, happens. And it's just interesting to me. But the way this chart kind of played out, it's fascinating. It is still fascinating. What are we going to see going forward? Are we going to see this? The retest? I mean, that's a classic TA example for you right there. Who knows? You guys have got any comments or questions on the current price action of Hedron?
Go ahead, Graphics.
You go ahead, man. I'm thinking about what I've been seeing the last while, and let me come up with something while you guys are you're talking there, RH.
Well, it's just is this Did you want to talk about like the reasons why we would be so bullish? For I put out a tweet about this too. Just the HSI auctions, Alex working on the infrastructure type stuff. Paulie Maximus and how that factors into it. Whether that's good for price or not, that's actually an interesting question. Like what bullish plays would play into this to make it price go up versus maybe price go sideways for a while like everything else?
So there's a lot of buy pressure going on right now. Clearly, the chart is reflecting that. And it has been ever since the first notion of Hedron was dropped in the Hedron chat. That was the bottom. The bottom of the Hedron chart was when Alex talked about Hedron. Like that was the bottom. Ever since then, it's just been more buys than sells, right?
What is Hedron for people not aware?
Oh, Hedron was what he was calling in the chat before he officially called it Icosa. Okay. So there was a few of us that were talking, just between each other, and we weren't really posting anything official, on any threads or anything. That we were guessing what it could be, and Icosa was one of them. And mainly because when Hedron came out and he told us where he got the name Hedron, the die, I was poking fun of him in the chat, talking about Dungeons and Dragons and stuff and all the dies you use with that. And that's one of the die is as a D20, right? Which is an Icosa Hedron. So anyways, he was just using Hedron as a kind of a code term for Icosa before he was officially going to talk about it.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't catch that at all, actually. I think I was maybe a week or two afterwards, but that's actually cool. I heard he was speaking in code for a little while, so I'm sad I wasn't there to see all that and catch the bottom, but hey, it's still cool that people got to see that and be a part of it.
He is excellent at keeping things close to his chest when he needs to. It's absolutely amazing. Like there is so many other people in our ecosystem that are eager to talk about what they're working on and talk about, what they want to build in the future. When Alex comes out, it's basically built. He's like, hey, I'm launching this new token called Icosa. I'm ironing out some of the finer details and want to share it with you guys and so we can have a dialogue. And but it was basically written at that point, Hedron was basically written. There was a last minute adjustment that pushed our launch from January to February, but that was it. Like he pretty much had the code written at that point too. So right now he's very reclusive. He's working very hard, and I'm sure we're going to see some amazing stuff coming out at some point in the future. Right. So yeah. I think it's pretty cool how he's able to keep it hush hush until he's ready to show the world what he's working on.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty hard too, considering I can't imagine a world where you build something like Hedron and Icosa and you're not like, holy shit. I'm stoked on this. This is really cool. You're sitting back and you're able to personally, I don't know that I'd be able to do that. It's not like I'd be parading around telling everyone what I built, but I'd have a hard time not being excited about it, just being as reserved as he is. I like to tell myself I have self-control, but
that reminds me, we were on a voice chat with him right after he kind of laid it out what he was building with Icosa. And this is all going through his head for months on end, right? As he's building it. And then he just kind of drops it on us. And we're all in the chat just you can hear a pin drop. We're all just trying to wrap our heads around it. He's like, what, you guys don't have any questions? You guys are experts on Icosa now? I was like, I've got tons of questions. I just don't even know where to start. There's so much game theory you just built. It's going to take me a minute to digest all of this,
Mm-hmm. And, we're still tearing it apart to figure it out.
To this day, I'm going to show some new stuff today that nobody has talked about before. And I think it's just absolutely fascinating.
Let's go.
So I'm so glad you're here too, Graphics. This is fun to have you on as well.
Oh, I feel privileged to be here for this. Hell yeah.
Did you have anything on the Hedron price though?
On the Hedron price, I can't see it going. I think it could go lower. We could see a macro event that happens. People get scared. Something goes down. I've seen some articles on Toronto Sun posted the other day. I think it was 2 days ago. That was saying this recession is going to be longer and hit harder and all these things. And to me, we know how the media works. It's okay, you guys are foreshadowing, it's coming. So to what degree that actually happens, or if when it happens, something along those lines, I think could cause us to be pushed down a little bit, in a panic. But short of that, I mean, we're still in price discovery mode for Hedron. Like, it's still undervalued, and people know that, and people aren't sure necessarily what it's going to take for the sentiment to change to just push it up because the value is low. But then there's also the HSI auctions. There's PauleeMax. There's new information like the stream I did today, and the stream that we're about to go over today, where people are learning more and more about the importance of Hedron and Icosa and the relevance to HEX. So, I mean, I can't see a world unless short of a bigger event where there's not a trend upward, even if it's a small upward trend. You know, I can't see that right now.
The only thing I'll say on macro stuff, because I try to stay out of macro stuff, at least publicly. The only thing I will say is I'll just quote good old Buffett there. When people are greedy, be fearful. And when people are fearful, be greedy. Right.
Yes.
And one thing that the media, or just people in general, right? People in general, the one thing they've been really good at is they call recessions after they've happened. They never call them in advance. When we're in a recession, they're talking about the next top of the next time the S&P 500 hits a new all-time high. When we're on our way up, that's when they're calling recession. That's when they're trying to make everyone fearful. Maybe they're trying to, maybe they just do it. Who knows? But that's when most of the people stop investing and they miss the run-ups. And the people that are paying attention, that's when they're already in or getting it. But that's all I'll say about the macro. When people start talking really fearful about the recession we're about to get in, it makes me very bullish.
Right. That's good points. Really good points.
And then let's talk about Paulie really quick. So I've got a ton of respect for good old Dip Catcher, because I like jump on his streams. I'm like, he encouraged me to learn to code. And, I got mad respect for him. And I really appreciate his point of view. I don't agree with all of his points, but I appreciate his point of view. And I respect his point of view for sure. He is gunning for the little man in pretty much everything he does. He creates pools, right? That's his thing. He creates pools to get people in the pool so that their pool could compete with the whales, right? And that's admirable. I don't agree, but it's admirable, right? The only I really liked Maxi. Less bullish on the perpetuals, but I think they're still great. Don't get me wrong. I think they're still great. Same thing with Team. Still great. It's great. Anybody who wants to get in that stuff, like, you're not going to hear any hate from me. Like, great. The only thing that's tripping me up about Paulie, and let's just cover the basics real quick, okay? So real quick, you another pool, you pull your Hedron into there, you get 1-for-1 on Paulie, right? Now, the idea is that this is going to create a big pool of funds, of Hedron funds, that is going to be used to bid on these HSIs at the auctions, right? But this is where I get tripped up. And this isn't even a finished, like, he's not done coding everything yet. So it's almost unfair. But, people are asking me my opinion, so I'm going to give it. When you start to deal with what does he call it again?
Executor?
Like arbiter, an executor.
Yeah.
I'm not in crypto for executors. That is not why I got into crypto. Like, and for some reason, nobody's asking him this. Nobody. When I deal with any of my crypto, it's me and the code, and that is all it's ever gonna be. Like, I do not need to. I do not want to rely on an executor to know more about bidding in these auctions than what I know. And I'm not gonna, like, we're gonna assume that this executor is gonna have the best day of his life. Like, that he's gonna make the best bids and he's gonna stay on top of the best HSIs, and like, there's a whole lot of stuff. You're trusting a person as opposed to the code at that point, right? Can
you explain what executor in this particular context for everyone?
So the executor is someone that is going to be elected by probably the Gold Key and Dip Catcher to run these funds, to actually interact with the Hedron front end to bid on these HSIs. So there's going to be a person who he can't run away with the funds, right? This has been coded in to where he doesn't have access to the funds, but he's directing the funds on which HSIs to bid on, and how much to bid, right?
So we're sure that there will be an executor and there won't be a trustless bidding, like, based on some sort of math of like, okay, I know how much to bid to win and all that stuff.
In my stream with him yesterday, he said that there was a possibility that it could be a bot, it could be a script, it could be a person, it could be a group, it could be. He was very unspecific, but gave multiple different avenues that it could go. And I'm with you on the side of if it's a person, then I mean, we're kind of dealing with middlemen, and that's, against everything underneath the ethos of this community. So if it's a bot or a script and there's parameters that are used to bid within, okay, cool. That makes sense. But if it's coming down to human interaction, I mean, I agree with you there, actually.
I couldn't do that. Like, that's just not the ethos that I'm into, right? Like, when we see real innovation by somebody like, Richard Hart and his team, and then now really Alex, who is doing a majority of the innovation, like, that's the route I want to be down. Like, I want to be writing with those protocols where it's just me, the contract, and math, and that's it. And it's up to me on, what protocols I want to interact with. It's up to me on how much I want to invest, how long I want to invest, the whole 9 yards. And to script a bot to interact with the bidding on this, I mean, that's a long shot. I mean, I think Max, maybe you can kind of help me out here, but from what I've been learning so far in Python, and then you look at how the auctions actually take place. Like,
I think it's possible. I mean, it's like, part of me is like, yeah, that's really hard. But also, I mean, the whole Maximus ecosystem, to get that game theory working correctly and all the math and all the, everything up and running, that wasn't easy, even though they like to, they like to say so.
Well, the question is, can they do that in under a month though?
Well,
that's the challenge.
We don't even know how much time they're going to have yet. The upgraded front end on Icosa is not there yet. So they couldn't even test it right now, even if they wanted to. Right.
Which is even more problematic for them.
So how do you reconcile, both of you, how do you all reconcile the mystery boxes where, no expectations, but you just not factor those because they're, not trustless. You don't factor those into your, the price performance or what you're looking to get out of the tokens. Do you set those aside when you're looking at it, or do you look at them differently than an executor would be in this case?
I think you have to look at it differently, only from the way of, I mean, they've worded the mystery box as it could do just about anything under the sun. You have no way of knowing who, what, why, where, when. It's been either designed or someone's controlling it. So I mean, like, it's impossible to, kind of put it in the same category as like a human executor, I think, personally. But
well, wink, wink, benevolent, right? That's the whole concept. Is like,
yeah, and I mean,
they would never do it in a way that wouldn't be. You would think, at least, but
yeah, and I mean, I guess that's honestly why I had a hard time, posting videos about Team for a while, and then I came out with that one. I made some math errors, and had to apologize and learned a lot from that. But that was why I was struggling with it, because like it really seemed like the mystery box was being almost. And I'm hoping I'm wrong in my interpretation here. And if it is, then perfect. But it's like the mystery box kind of alludes to being possibly benevolent and favorable to investors if you read it. And it's like, it's not like you really got to read between the lines to get that idea, but it's there, saying like, because there's future airdrops from the mystery box or other investors or whatever. And or mysterious sources, like even using like mysterious sources as like a way of referencing where these funds could come from. I mean, like you're kind of alluding potentially there. And who knows though, maybe that wasn't their intention. Maybe the mystery box is its own entity that's going to have its own ideas of what's benevolent, what's not. But, it's hard to not kind of get that idea from reading that.
Well, let's put it this way. The success of the perpetuals and team is not dependent on the mystery box.
100%
right?
It's not.
Just like the success of HEX isn't dependent on what the OA does. The OA will always look after HEX, yes, but we don't have to sit around and wait for them to do something right in order for HEX to be a success. Same thing with Hedron and the SA and the deployer address. Like in this case, you are reliant on what the executor is going to do. Right. And I mean, it just gets into a really weird zone. Just even talking about it.
How reliant do you think? I guess the question I want to ask too is, what is the worst thing the executor could do? They just overbid for something, or they miss the best ones? Like what? I guess like how can they mess up where it would not be good for Paulie holders?
Well, the only thing that I've thought about is, especially after the stuff that I've been, diving into as far as like spreadsheeting and math and all that stuff, like to try to figure out, what the future value of Icosa and everything is. I mean, my biggest worry is that there is so much Hedron pooled, and then it goes to one HSI and it gets massively overbid, and someone basically games the Paulie because maybe there's not a threshold, or they're just willing to go for the biggest HSI. And sure, like maybe 400 billion Hedron or 500 billion Hedron get burnt in an auction, but the future value of HEX, if all of that Hedron that was burnt goes up to its ceiling price or ever hits there, the HSI doesn't actually cover the value lost in the Hedron. And that's my concern. And I don't know that that's even realistic, but it's been on my mind. I don't know how to factor that or how to quantify that. So to see if it's actually worth, or how they would prevent that from happening, or if that's even something to worry about.
Well, the two bigger things that I worry about, and actually graphics, maybe you could fill me in on two important points.
Sure.
One, you cannot redeem your Paulie for the yield until 15 years from August 15th, right?
Yeah,
or
correct.
Quattrocinco from August 15th.
Yeah, exactly.
So so are they just not? They're only gonna bid on Quattrocinco stakes?
I believe it's only going to be Quattrocinco stakes.
Interesting. That'll be interesting. And then are we kind of assuming that they're going to cover all the gas fees at the end via the mystery box, or where will they come up with the gas to close those?
They're doing the same thing as Maximus, I'll call it 1.0, where there's someone can contribute to the gas at the end.
So they'll need one big pool then, right? Because people can't just go in and select which ones they want to end or want to contribute to end then, right?
Yeah, I think that there's going to be I guess that's a good question. I did actually get a chance to ask how that's going to work, because he did say that there's possibly going to be more than one HSI. Like they could get a basket of HSIs, and all of them would end, based on using the Hedron in the pool. And so if that's the case, then I'm not sure. And I didn't ask the question, so I don't actually have the answer to that one. It's a good question though, actually.
So some good questions there. And also, if you're trying to get the edge of being the small guy, and you're going to put your Hedron in a pool that only goes after the Quattrocinco stakes, keep in mind that there are stakes ending very soon in that pool with a large amount of HEX in it that is going to be the best deal as far as the starting bid that you will have no access to, because they're going to be going after the Quattrocincos.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that too. So you're losing in an edge, a very specific targeted edge of being in the auctions and knowing how much HEX is tied up in each HSI and for how long, and how long that HSI's existed too. If there's a multiplier on it, the whole 9 yards, you got to be able to calculate all of that. And the ones that end sooner are potentially the best deals because they have less B shares, right?
Yep. Well, absolutely. And it's a weird game because, like, it's exciting because, there's so many 5.5 or Quattrocinco T shares, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you almost gotta stop and ask yourself, like, why do you want this HSI? Because 15 years is going to be way too long for the majority of people, that are like most people aren't going to be able to utilize, or waiting 15 years. It's going to take a certain kind of person, to utilize that. So if you're not utilizing it for just the 15-year HEX stake, the only other real purpose you could do would be to possibly recycle it for Icosa, because maybe you get a really good deal. But short of that, I mean, you're going to be holding on. Maybe you could get an advance if the ceiling price of Hedron ever comes up and you have a bunch of Hedron. You get more Hedron out of the 15-year stakes. So maybe you wait for that, but that's a dangerous game, because what if it never does that? So it's like, there's only so many reasons why someone should go after a 15-year stake. And I think that for smaller players, yeah, or if you want shorter stakes and you want to actually benefit from your Hedron and your HSI, the yield, like you said, Gifford, the shorter stakes are probably going to be better deals, because they're not worth as much in the system per se, but they're going to be available sooner, and that's huge. You know, that has almost more value to a lot of people than the 15 years, because a lot of people aren't going to want to wait that long.
Absolutely.
So a comment from Blue Bum too. It's like a maxi token that makes that basket of HSIs liquid. Interesting.
But here's the thing. There's no new protocol that batches all those together so that you can just run one function and take care of them. That doesn't exist. So it's not really a good comparison. Maxi is attributed to one massive stake. One. So you only got to call an end stake function one time on that one big stake, right? With Paulie, how many HSIs are going to be in there? And are you going to be able to call one function to end all those at the exact same time for the exact same rate? These are all just questions I have, right? Like I said, I got mad respect for Dipcatcher and the team. I really do. And I hope I don't come off as anything than just asking really good questions right now. And maybe some of this stuff will get answered soon. And then we'll all kind of know, right? So, I mean, this is how we all learn. So we got to ask questions. We got to be critical so we can all kind of learn from this stuff. But, I mean, awesome. That's all I got on the Paulie token.
That's great.
Beautiful. No, good discussion. I mean, these questions need to be asked, and it's objective discussion. We don't know all the details. It's still being coded, but these are questions that I'm just maybe Dipcatcher's thinking about too. And if he watches the stream, maybe we'll have some really good answers afterwards as well to update us on. But no, these are the type of discussions we need to have.
If he does, I hope he still likes me. I'm just being critical, but nothing but love. I got nothing but respect for you, brother.
Of course. Just before I know we're about to go into Icosa, but can we just go through some questions real quick?
Yeah.
If I don't mind, because a lot of people have been waiting a while. Actually, GRFX has a question too that I totally did not see earlier.
That's okay.
Yeah, what do you think of this gift? I think he was. We were talking about the PulseChain.
Well, yeah, because it's proportional, right?
That's what I thought.
It's got to be proportional.
Yeah, and when I heard that news, instantly I was like, "Holy moly, they're doing that! Oh my god, the transactions per second is going to be insane on PulseChain." Because even hearing 100,000 transactions per second with sharding and optimistic and ZK rollups and everything for the future with ETH2, that sounded nuts. But knowing that we're translating the throughput on top of that, oh my god, game over.
Which is not something that the average user is really gonna notice. Because you get to a point where you just don't notice the difference.
Yeah.
Where it really plays a factor is everybody building on top of PulseChain. We're going to see some projects that go in there, or they're going to get built on PulseChain that's going to demand this type of performance in order for it to run properly. So this is going to be very bullish for PulseChain, not for the extra little, minimal time that you'll never really notice the difference of, right? But for what can be built on it and the innovations that get built on it and the spotlight that it'll bring to PulseChain and the whole ecosystem, right?
That's a great point. I have so many questions on that, but I think we should leave it right there for now, because otherwise this whole stream will turn into the PulseChain conversation, which I don't want to hijack it.
I don't think people would mind about PulseChain conversation. They seem to be into that type of thing. Just scrolling through, I had a bunch of questions, but just a lot of comments too. So I'm just wading through. Just thought it was funny from Tendies. His presence was requested and he shows up. So got to give him that. Tendies does show up when he's needed. What's another one? Let's see. Anderson, put my mind at ease here. We have been seeing commits updates to the code on GitLab? I guess that's the question. Have we seen any commits or updates to the code on GitLab, GIT Lab?
There's been nothing of importance, like nothing of interest. It basically went completely silent once they split up the teams and they started doing red versus blue, right? With the Golang. That's when it went dormant. I mean, for good reason. They're scripting, they're doing a lot of scripting, right? And like I said, we will not start to see this action kick back up on GitLab until V3 comes out. When V3 comes out, it's gonna get crazy in there. It's gonna feel like a Telegram chat room. It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I wonder how much they're gonna have public versus the private repos and stuff like that. So I certainly hope there'll be a lot of commits coming out, but I don't know. I could also see them being like, okay, V3, push a little bit of code and then dead silence until launch. I could also see that too.
Well, they're going to do a lot of testing, and you gotta get people outside of the core team to test your code to really nitpick any bugs out, right?
That's a good point that I would ask. Now that we don't have we have validators, but now that so do we know if it's going to work? So we know there won't be voting and stuff like that, but will it still be this like package? You can just set up your own validator, there'll be all the instructions. Will you think it'll be the same setup? Like we'll see that coming in V3? That'll be part of it.
I don't think we know anything. I don't think we know for a fact that there won't be any voting. I think we need to wait till V3 comes out. Let's just wait till, or at least I'm going to wait and not really comment on a lot until V3 comes out, and I can actually start to see what their code's looking like so far and what they're working on and what they're focused on. And then we could do like a 6-hour stream just going over all of that.
So down.
Scheduling it now. Let me note that 6-hour stream. Gifford said he would do it. Okay, and Graphic said he would do it too. Okay,
I'm so there.
Another question: what are your thoughts on smaller stakes for DCA? This one we're talking about HEX. Is the gas situation making it worth smaller staking ladder 5 to 10K per? What do y'all think?
This is a tough one. I mean, okay, and I'm hoping one of you guys can debunk what I'm about to say here. So, because if I'm wrong, stop me. Just because I don't know too much about how this is going to go. And this is more of a speculative line of thinking here. ETH 2.0 is rolled out, and of course, nothing happened with the gas fees. But we don't know how long it's going to take for sharding. We don't know how long it's going to take for rollups, and we don't really know what's going to happen to the gas costs. Should all of these implementations happen within the time that your stakes end. Maybe that's in the next 2 to 3 years, So if we have all those implementations on ETH 2.0, maybe these gas costs we're worried about aren't as prominent. Maybe they're still there, but maybe they come down 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%. I don't even know how to quantify that. And I don't know how you could. If someone knows how to, please tell me. But I really wonder, how much of this gas issue there's actually going to be in the future with everything that's coming. Like the sharding should add a lot. The roll-ups and the optimistic roll-up should add a ton. I mean, I just don't know how long it's going to take is my biggest thing. So the answer that I have is if all these things that are happening with ETH 2.0 come sooner, I think this is going to be a non-issue or close to a non-issue, maybe still a small issue, but a lot less. If it doesn't come out in the next number of years, I think we're going to be still in the same boat and it's going to be tough. For gas fees.
Okay. Agreed. I think another game you have to play is you got to make sure that these stakes don't end before PulseChain comes out, because you want to lock in those T-shares in that stake and get it copied over onto PulseChain. Because, one of the things that a lot of people talk about with the gas fees and stuff down the road and how much of the Ethereum block it's going to fill up and etc. It's yeah, but you're going to have that duplicated for free on PulseChain. And that's going to have value, and maybe more value than what it had on the ETH chain when you first created it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's going to make up for it immensely. And then to also assume that we're not going to see upgrades on Ethereum. I mean, the dude just writes a ton of open source code and is showing zero signs of stopping. So, I mean, we should be a little bit more optimistic. And when you're talking about DCA of 5 to 10,000. The smaller the amount you stake, the further down the road it needs to go, with a minimum time frame of what I would deem as 3 to 5 years. Mm-hmm. Like a 3 to 5 year 5K stake, you're going to be fine. You're going to get the copy over on the other chain, and 3 to 5 years is right around that time frame that we could see some serious improvements in the gas on Ethereum. Maybe, right? Hopefully, right?
Hopefully, exactly.
As we transition to Icosa, here's a question you can either enter now or enter during that, but I'll leave it up to.
Let's go. Let's just go to the next page.
And go for it. All right.
Yeah, let's go. I want to hear the new info. I got to hear this. Yeah, I need to know what you're going to bring to us here.
Okay, this is where the fun starts. All right. First off, I wanted to help you out, Graphics. Earlier, you were talking about supply and whale status, and I couldn't jump on with you. So I quickly wrote down some notes hoping that you would jump on. So there's 2 different classifications on when you're looking at a whale class with Icosa. There's 2 different classifications. There's your staker class and then your actual class, your token class, right?
Right.
So if you're looking at staker class, then you just jump on Icosa.pro and you play with the numbers and it'll tell you what class you're in, right? However, if you're trying to find out if you're a Icosa whale, I would be careful about using that terminology, okay?
Right.
Because we've got 645,000 that's currently liquid, and we've got 16 million staked.
Right.
So, you got to keep that. You got to play that as a factor. So if there's 16.6 million in total, both burnt or staked, right, and the actual supply, then if you take 1% of that, that's 166,000 Icosa. So if you're going to say you're Icosa whale, you should have at least 166,000.
That's a great correction. Yeah, great point. That's very, very critical information. You can be a whale staker whale for 6,500 Icosa, but you want to be an actual whale, well, you got to do a little bit more work.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, when you stake your Icosa on the app.icosa.pro, when you stake it, it's kind of like when you stake your HEX. That HEX gets burned, right? And you're redeeming T-shares. So in this system, it's kind of the same thing. It burns the tokens out of existence. So when you go on the Etherscan to see what the total supply is, it's very misleading. It's going to say 645,000. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the size of the pool on app.icosa.pro, that will tell you how much is currently been burned. So 16 million. So that's how that plays differently, which is different than when you stake Hedron. When you stake Hedron, the Hedron goes to the Icosa address and is stored there. So it doesn't actually get burned. So the total supply that you see on the Etherscan is accurate, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Here's the fun part, though. So, and I think you were touching on this a little bit earlier too, Graphics, on your channel. This dip that we saw in the Icosa price, this is fun. So we saw it take place here. Well, this is the most obvious, right?
Yep.
And this is the premium. So this is the way that I've always tracked Icosa. From day one of launch, this is what made the most sense. Track it based on the B share. And don't just track how the price between the B share and the Icosa price play with each other, because the T share calculation is in there twice. When you redeem your HSI for Icosa, the T share rate is calculated twice. So because of that, it will actually create a premium between the two. So Icosa trades at a premium over the price of a B share because of that calculation. Now that premium changes. It goes up as the T share rate goes up. And that's when you're just talking about the ceiling price. So this is just when it's in the ceiling price range. So one thing that we saw that was incredibly interesting was when somebody came through with 145,000 Icosa or however much it was, and they kind of just market dumped it, right? And we saw this huge dip in the price. And you see right here, you see the dip in the Icosa price, and then what does the B share do? Nothing. Because the B share is independent, right? So it's just doing its thing. Like, it doesn't care what Icosa does, right? But what we found out is anybody who got in at these levels here, they're actually getting a deal on Icosa. Like, if HEX is going down and the dollar value of a B share is going down with it, right? Because they're correlated, and you're buying Icosa cheaper than you did a week ago, you're not getting a better deal. You're not getting a better deal. And this is a very hard concept to wrap your head around. You're not, because the premium's the same, right? But when you see the Icosa price fall off from the ceiling price and drops into a range lower, that's a deal. So this has been the first time anybody could have gotten a deal on Icosa from the launch date. Does that make sense? I know that was probably a little wordy.
No, that made perfect sense. I thought, it's really cool to see the recovery and to see people, take advantage of that. And then the value that it holds, because you had to give up HEX, is actually held by people enough to buy it back up to that ceiling price. That for me was like the holy crap. Okay, this thing actually is going to hold. I think it's actually going to do its thing. And
it took 2 days. It was trading at a discount from its premium price for 2 days. So, I know me personally, and a lot of people I know, we were buying those bottoms. Some people didn't know why. They're just like, oh no, it's dropping this. I just got to buy it because it's off the ceiling price. But I saw the real discount there, and I'm like, yo, like this is the time to buy. If you're gonna get into Icosa, like this is the time. This is the time you buy it off the market. And that worked out pretty great. I was surprised that it took 2 days to get up there. I was very surprised. I'm thinking there's probably maybe not that many eyeballs on this, or maybe there's not enough dry powder on the sidelines for this. But this was fascinating. And this immediately, I don't know if you remember, Max, but last time I was on this show, I talked about when the ceiling price might break.
Yeah.
Do you remember me bringing up the auction day?
Yep.
So we're going to see more of this. This is not a one-time event. There will be more time. I think at this point, this is baked in. That when you want to get an Icosa, you want to get it at a true discounted price. It's when people sell Icosa in large batches. And this will be sporadic for the most part, but on Icosa or on the auction day, the big burn day, and going forward, we may see it get knocked off the ceiling price again and stay down even longer. It just all depends. It all depends on how many people find the value there. And
what would make it get knocked off? Was it just people dumping, or like, is there any particular events that you'd be able to see, oh, it's going to happen, or do you just kind of people getting rid of it?
So as with all things on the free market, anytime somebody can find an arbitrage or find a way to make a quick buck, they're going to do it, right? And the way they're going to do it is they're going to buy these HSIs at a discount. Like say they go in and they get it 50% on sale, right? They get that HSI. They could pull it off the market, immediately sell it to the Icosa contract, get the Icosa and sell that for USDC, and they're out, right? And now they profited 50% of what they put in. They 2x their money. That's going to happen. And I think that's going to happen a lot. And so that's going to put some serious sell pressure on Icosa in that time period. So that'll be interesting. But the counter argument to this is that after that first day of the auction of the big burn, and we see all that Hedron getting burned, we're going to see the APY of Icosa just go through the roof. And that's going to incentivize a lot of people to be like, whoa, maybe I overlooked Icosa. Maybe I need to get into this because these people are making insane yields in one day just because all the burned Hedron translates over to just the next day, right? And so you have to be in that pool that day in order to get those yields. And they're going to see that, and they're going to look at what's it trading at now? Oh, it's down. Oh, I can get a huge discount. Now I'm gonna back up the truck, right, so to speak. So that's the counter argument, that it may not take more than a few days to get back to that ceiling price, but nobody knows.
And the thing too, that's interesting to add to what you just said is, we're pretty low liquidity in Icosa right now, between HEX and Icosa. So it's like, and one of the wild cards that I don't know has been talked about that much is like the SA and the Hedron deployer. Are there in the system and they're benevolent for the system. They're going to act in their own accord, but neither of those entities have a position in Icosa. So, maybe we see there's a possibility that the deployer or the SA needs to get into the Icosa system for some, maybe the best benevolent move is to provide liquidity. And if the liquidity thickens up in any way, whether it's SA, deployer, another user, then this price action could be mitigated exponentially. It could get very, very difficult to sell it down if we get enough liquidity. And where that comes from, I don't know. But I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts on like the SA and the deployer potentially participating to, have some stake or have some say or some, I don't think it would stake, but have a position in the Icosa system.
Yeah. What do you got, Jeff?
When it comes to like the SA and the Hedron deployer address, I really truly have zero expectations. I really do. Like if you want to try to plan on an address that we don't know who owns it or what their intentions are, other than they've exhibited benevolence in the past. Here's the cool part. Let me just talk about the positive side of things. When it comes to the liquidity, right? There is, I don't want to be super bold, but I'll be bold anyways. I don't think there's a better liquidity pair than HEX Icosa. I just don't think there is. Like you could go in and you could provide liquidity in a tight range in Uniswap V3 to just absorb all that trading in between you know, a few cents or maybe even 10 cents of the Icosa ceiling price, right? If you got right there, like your odds of it wicking out of your zone and leaving you with impermanent loss and keep running up is slim to none.
Yep.
And then the same thing when it goes to the downside, well, you just got protected on a limit order. So you could go ahead and swap all that extra Icosa for HEX when it comes back up to that ceiling price again, which it probably will. I just don't think there's a better pair. And I think all it takes is time for people who love to provide liquidity and who have big bags to realize that and start deploying it there, because that will give them really good gains. That'll give them really good yield with no lockup time, right? So I think the liquidity was already thought about early on by our genius founder of Alex, and I think that was all baked in, and I think that's why we haven't seen any moves so far. That's just me guessing, though.
That's a good point.
Interesting question here. I feel like LPing is missing out on staking APOI. But,
absolutely,
we'll get on that.
Absolutely, but think about it this way: like, because Icosa burns those tokens when you stake, it makes almost everybody a whale if you have just like a decent amount of Icosa that you want to stake. So that's a 360-day lockup period. That is an eternity for people who really just stick to LP. That's an eternity. So they're willing to put a blind eye to that APY as long as they can withdraw. And man, I wish we could get Wendy's. I know Wendy's knows how to LP, and I really love his opinion on this. This is one of the main reasons I told him to come watch the show. Is when you have the flexibility of earning a yield like you could when you're LPing two tokens like HEX and Icosa, like I just feel like because it's liquid and you can pull whenever you want and you can change your mind constantly and you can go, oh yeah, there we go. It's just a different people with different strokes, like folks with different strokes, right? That's just all it is. That's all it is. Like if you got the staker mentality, if you're, like Hexkin at Hart and you believe in staking and delaying gratification, this is not going to sound appealing to you. But for a lot of other people, it sounds very appealing.
Gotcha.
Cool beans. So this kind of leads into my next thought. Here's some new stuff. Some really cool new stuff, I think. I'm excited about it. So if we see this dip, kind of like we saw here, right? And somebody who went into the auctions to buy these HSIs to truly flip it, because they're like, there's not going to be a lot. There's too many HSIs. Somebody's got to go in there and clean these up, right? They go in there and they want to make a couple quick bucks, right? They go in there, they get all these HSIs, they look at the Icosa price, and they're like, oh, wow, there goes my profit, right? Because it's down, and it might be down for a few days. So what do I do now? I'm stuck with these HSIs.
Boom.
.com. Right now, what are the prices that we see on these HSIs on hexmarket.com and we see on OpenSea? The prices are insane, right? Like there's I don't know, there's like a $20 stake going for $264. But what if all of a sudden we see, oh, there's a 400 ETH one over there on the end. That one's wild. But what if all of a sudden this page goes from these 4 lonely HSIs to 1,000, and all of these HSIs are being sold for a 10% discount of what it would cost for you to make it? How many people would go on there and say, hey, I was about to make a stake, but let me just buy this. It's got a better T-share rate than I can get today. Maybe it's got a HEX multiplier on it, or a Hedron multiplier, like adoption amplifier. Right? And maybe there's some at a 10% discount. Maybe there's some at a 20% discount. I think that will be derived by how low Icosa prices dipped. I think there will be a happy medium in there where people are going to want to offload these HSIs because they bought a lot, and they want to offload them to get more Hedrons so they can get back into the auctions again, because auctions are very addictive. And so, maybe this process starts happening. Maybe this is what kickstarts something like hexmarket.com. And I like this platform. I like the founder. I like everything about it. They're building new protocols that's going to kick into effect next week, or maybe even this week. that's going to add a whole new layer of what you could do with these HSIs when you put them on market, right? So I just I want your guys' feedback on this theory that I have. Like, how plausible? What kind of holes do you see? Like, just give it to me.
I think this the participation. Just looking at a higher level of like how many people. You know, I went on OpenSea. You know, I bought NFTs and stuff like that before, and HSI related things. But I guess how much percentage of the community actually knows how to even do that and make the trade-offs in their head of even going for doing that? I think it's a very small percentage. So that's why I'm like, yes, obviously the opportunity is there, but we have all kinds of ARB opportunities like didn't you say like 2 days for the Icosa dip? Was that how long it took? How was that not bought up super, super quick within a few hours? So that right there tells me, hey, there's not a lot of people actually looking at the next level of this stuff that's available for these type of prices. So that would just be my point, is like, I don't think a lot of people are looking at it. So even if there were 1,000 on there, I don't know. I think it'd take some time, but what do you think, Graphics?
I think that, it depends on who sees this stuff, because if sure, we can think of it like we need a lot of people to do it, or maybe you need like a couple hundred people who have the cash to really take advantage of a system like this. And I don't think this needs thousands and thousands of people in order to really blossom. Yeah, you just need the people in the know to have the cash to be able to take advantage of this. And if you have the right eyes on a system like this, I think this could 100% be another avenue and another element to what you got to think about when approaching these auctions coming up. So I think I hadn't thought of this. This is great. I think there's going to be a play here for people.
Yeah, the interesting part is the starting bids on these HSIs are very low. Like, it doesn't take a lot of dry powder. Shoot, if you've got some hex stakes, you can mint the amount of Hedron you need to just go in and get one, right? Mm-hmm. And, when you're looking at, what is it, 2,500, 2,600 on the first day? It's wild. It's going to be wild. And there's going to be plenty of opportunity. Anybody who thinks they don't have enough scratch to go in and successfully bid on an HSI, you need to just show up and be ready. Just show up and be ready. That doesn't mean you have to actually go through with it and go ahead and purchase one of these, but just show up and look at the action that's going on. Because as we all know, once that time ticks over, now all those HSIs can now be liquidated to start the timer. So then somebody's going to have to go in and start starting timers, right? Mm-hmm. And if somebody wants to go in and start all the timers at once, maybe they pay a ton of money in gas to make that happen, right? Mm-hmm. And now you've got all those HSIs that auction's going to end on literally the exact same second. So then you're going to get this crazy bidding war in the last 5 minutes of that auction, where it's going to go back and forth and back and forth. And how many eyeballs are there going to be out there watching 2,500 HSI auctions ending at the exact same second? Like, there's going to be opportunity. There's going to be opportunity. And if you buy it, and if you want to just flip it, I mean, the market is going to be a great opportunity. I don't think the Icosa price is going to hold its ceiling. So this is going to be a great opportunity to sell it here. And people have been like kind of wanting to see these HSIs being sold at a reasonable rate ever since Hedron came out, because the whole premise that we started on, one of the premises that we started on, was that we wanted to bring all those NFT bros. We want to get some HEX product in front of them, right? Mm-hmm. There's some big bags over there in that market. And we want to get their attention and say, hey, look what we're doing. Look at this NFT that actually has value built into it, that nobody can just take away because they don't like the looks of the picture, or the artist got fudded or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this has been part of the game plan for the last 10 months. Like, how do we get more of these NFT guys to look at our product and to see what we've built? And, even though I really love hexmarket.com, and this is the platform I'm going to choose for sure. Even some of these are going to end up on OpenSea too, and they're going to get flooded up in there, and that's definitely going to attract some attention as well.
Yeah, I think it's great just having those people have the option to even see them. That's huge. Maybe not even short term, but the interesting thing too is, like, we think of this auction period as like a couple days or like a week or two long, but I mean, So August 15th was when UTC was when midnight UTC was when the auctions or the Icosa launched. Every single day, if you're in Icosa, you've been seeing the fact that we've been getting Hedron yield. Even if it's small amounts, that means people are still sending in HSIs every single day. We're coming up on 60 days from the launch date. That means there's going to be closing on 60 days of higher normal or higher yield than normal. So there's going to be a prolonged period for these auctions to go off. And I think, it's a great opportunity for these NFT guys to be able to see it, watch it, learn about it, and still be able to get in. Now I don't know how to, go about or how we would go about, getting these guys involved, but there's a big window of opportunity to, get these people in during this like 60-day period, essentially, that we're going to see or more.
Yeah. I mean, every day, I think I actually calculated that. Let me see here. Go ahead, Max. Let me find my sheet.
Is it trivia time?
Almost.
The people are calling for it.
Oh no. All right. Well, let's just say, like hundreds of HSIs every day for the August 15th to the end. There was hundreds and a couple with thousands of HSIs. So this isn't going to be a one and done thing. This is going to be like a tsunami, right? Where you get the big wave at front and then you're going to get a bunch of waves after it. And it's just going to
storm
continue
surges.
to go. The system is built to not be a one and done thing. It's just going to keep reiterating.
Mm-hmm. And we could see even, I don't want to go too far off on this as well, but like, we could see waves because of this. And we could see small cycles start to happen as stakes get recycled or as people get in. And what's interesting, I've been thinking of, we kind of think of like, if you're thinking of the cycles too, it's easy to think of them as happening after the 90 days. But what could happen too is the cycles could actually extend in both ways, possibly. Because if people are getting into these auctions beforehand, or they're getting into Icosa beforehand, they have to get in the day before, or 2 days before, 3 days before. And getting into the pool sooner could be advantageous. Get a couple more days of yield. And so what's going to happen is those HSIs that people use to get into the Icosa pool are going to go up for auction. But it's going to be before that normal, if there was a 90-day cycle continuously, it's going to extend it both earlier than it would have started and after as well. So you're going to get this like weird elongated cycle that's going to start to happen, depending on how the cycling works and how people act in accordance to whether they think they want to get into the Icosa pool or not. So, I mean, these cycles in this payout period could be weird and great and like all sorts of stuff, but it might not be anything that what we expect. Like this cycle, there could be weird cycles and cycles,
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. It's lots to think about.
Cycles on cycles on cycles. I got anyways, trivia. So Gift, just on the trivia real quick. So you're controlling it. If I share, when you click a button, it's going to post the question, right?
Yeah.
Not the answer?
Yeah.
And then when you click again, it posts the answer, right?
I hope so.
Okay. I just want to make sure because I'm not clicking the button. So, okay. Just don't double click. Should be fine.
All right. No double clicking.
Don't double click that EXE. Don't do that. All right, everyone. If it's your first time in trivia, this is how it works. We have Richard Hart trivia. Not just on his birthday, on every time we do trivia, because that's the way it is. So I will ask a question, and the first person in chat who has a correct answer will win a WAATSA NFT. You will just, and I'll remind everyone after it happens, after we determine a winner. And by the way, we determine a winner by what it looks like in my chat. So not anyone else's chat, but only who comes in first in my chat, because I know it can come in different timing and stuff like that over the internet. So whoever comes in first in my chat, sorry if you don't see it that way. And then you'll reach out to me afterwards, DM me, tag me on Twitter if I'm not following you, send me your ETH address, and I will send you for free a WAATSA NFT. So we have 2 questions, 2 NFTs to give away. Again, I'm going to read the question, or it's going to also be on the presentation here GIF has. And then as fast as you can, think of the answer, type into chat, and the first correct winner will win the NFT, and we'll go to the next question. We're going to do 2 questions tonight. Everybody good? Clear, everyone? All right. Going to add it back to the stream. GIF, please put the first question on the board. Yes. What happens when you end your HEX stake? Just simply, what does the contract do? Just as simple as you can put, what does the contract do when you end your HEX stake? I feel like that's going to be controversial. There's going to be like some answer like, no, that's not, but I was thinking of it. There's going to be some controversy. We'll give it a second to see like 50. HEX. Well, let's see. So I got a couple answers that. So what I'm looking for is contract mints you new coins. Ted says mint. It's very concise. It's hard to give you that one though, man. That you just said one word, mint. Like mint could mean a few different things. Even though I know what you meant, but it's like we got mint your coins for Modern Simplicity. That's the next one. That one's definitely closer. I mean, if you want something real good, we'll go to Wendy's. Real nice. I like that one. I don't know. What do you guys think? I can't be the bad guy on this one. Who you all think? Ted, Modern Simplicity. We got another mint here from Man.
I mean, mint is a powerful word, right? Like mint means you're bringing those coins into existence.
It is, in my opinion. It is powerful. That's true.
That's different than redeeming.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. What do you think?
I mean, I think you're saying like minting the tokens and like the process of going from shares to liquid. You know, I think that's an important distinction to make too, because just saying mint. If we're being technical here, just saying mint could be referring to anything. But what does a contract do? I think you need to say a little bit more than mint. I hate to be that guy.
Well, what does the contract simply do?
Yeah. If you want to click another time for the answer of what I was looking for, just in a simple way, the contract mints you new coins. So based on that, what the answer I was looking for, I know graphics. Yeah, we could go a little deeper on that. But based on that answer, who do you think Ted got it? You think?
Let me see here.
We got Ted. I think the next articulated one that really, let's see, RO calculated. Let's see, Rich Wealth, RO calculated Burns T-shirts. I mean, that one's pretty good, and that was before Wendy's. Rich Wealth, pretty good. Surge, a resident troll. Penalty. Oh, thank you, Surge, for that. That was funny.
I mean, I think Modern Simplicity got it, actually, because if you look at the question, it says, what does the contract simply do? And Modern Simplicity said, mint your coins.
That's good enough for me. Ted, you have won yourself a brand spanking new. It's not new at all. It's a day something or another. What's an NFT?
No, the next one.
No, it's Modern Simplicity.
Oh, hold on. Was that not did Ted not win?
I thought it was Modern. What about you guys? You got a consensus say Modern Simplicity got it? First one to say mint your coins, which is business.
I jumped the gun on that, didn't I?
I agree with that one.
Ted.
Poor Ted.
All right, Ted, I'm going to send you one. All right. We're doing an extra one. Sorry, since I already declared Ted is the winner out of confusion from the other hosts.
Was savaged.
The other judges were not on the same page. My bad. Ted, you're getting one too. And Modern Simplicity, where everyone gets in Modern Simplicity. Yes. Yeah. All right.
Tendies was like the most accurate, but Simplicity said the most basic first. Yeah.
If Wendy wasn't already so rich, I would give him one. But he doesn't need it. Ted, congrats. And Modern Simplicity, you also got WAATSA NFTs. I'm giving away 3 tonight, apparently. All right, I'm going to run out eventually. You all know that. There are no more cheap ones on OpenSea. There are no more. So you guys run me out, I'm out. But it'll be a while. But I'll be out. Awesome. Let me scroll down to see all the savageness in the chat. And I was typing mint your HEX. Stop you saying mint.
His comments are
I answered the correct answer. Yeah, there's a lot of correct answers. Since you got to be the fastest though there. It runs at, there was, all right. I meant like simply, but we got some good people know what's up. We got some Hexicans who know what's great. Who was that? I think I was arguing with Motley. I was arguing with Motley a couple of trivias ago around, not arguing, but we were going back and forth on, it was like, what was the first coin Richard mentioned that wasn't Bitcoin that he liked? And I was thinking, Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin HEX. I was thinking like Bitcoin private, Byteball, Monero, things like that. And he was like, Ethereum. I was like, shit, that is technically true. He did like Ethereum at one point. And not that he doesn't like it now, but anyways, we were going back and forth on technicalities and stuff. Me and Molly. It's pretty funny. Yes, Serge. We'll get to the second question. I'm just reading through, see if anyone savaged me or any of the other. Feel free to savage any of the judges here. It's feel free. Going through. Sorry, everyone. I can't read all of them, but yes, exactly. Wendy said it. Okay. All right. Second question. Is everyone ready? Everyone. Serge,
let's go.
It's not even the question tonight. It's not even the question, but I don't think he ever talked about Dash, but maybe. That's actually good. I might have to look that up. Second question. Everyone ready? Hands to the keyboard. Don't be AFK. Be the opposite of AFK. And 3, 2, 1. Hit it, GIF. What is Richard's favorite quote? Now, you can do either a keyword, a theme, a part of it. You don't have to say the whole quote because it may be long, but just the keywords. Get there's like 2 or 3 keywords I'm looking for on this. So, Ted, I'm gonna write more words this time. You're hilarious. Let's see. No, okay. Clarify. Favorite quote, as in. It's not a thing that he says, but like a quote that someone else famous in history has said. And he's talked about it being his favorite quote several different places, several different times. So just to clarify, I know people are saying his quotes. I meant like the quote that he likes that someone else said.
Some of these comments are hilarious.
Oh God. Chats fasty. Don't get. I mean. Oh! I think we might have got somebody. AC.
There you go.
AC. Did we? Did anyone before? Did that? So the answer is there. You go. The answer is nothing word take place. Persistence. Calvin Coolidge quote. Man, these comments are funny. So many. C Chef. I'm not gonna post them all. C Chef, you're funny. Frosty Dog, funny. Wendy's, I call it the top of the day. just so I can hear you saying it. It was funny. Just so I can hear it in your voice. Be rich. So you did guess twice. I guess I never did say if you could guess more than once. I didn't say you couldn't. So AC, I'm going to pretend like I didn't see be rich because you said it. Maybe after I clarified it was a quote for another. Okay, you totally get a pass on that one. Totally get a pass. No, I don't see. No, hold on. I
don't see anyone that had that one.
Actually, I see. No, Patrice, no, she's not your coins. Okay, y'all got me confused now, and I'm looking like, what is the right answer? Another classic.
Mm-hmm.
You got judges? Do you see anything else? I think AC was the first one.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. AC takes.
I want us to be consensus. We gotta get consensus here. We're 3 validator nodes. Are we in consensus? AC, you are the winner. This is another great quote. Good job, Ted. By the way, I didn't say this either, but this general rule is you can't win this another time if you won the first one. So Ted technically won it. Not that you can't post a comment. That's actually a great comment, but just FYI in the future, everyone, you can only win one of the trivia questions, one of the prizes if you've already won already. Let's see who else got it right.
Wait, did he win another one, or were we counting the one where we told him he won and then rugged him as him?
I'm just gonna give him one. Yeah, I'm just. Okay. I got a few.
Nice.
Because I already declared him winner. I feel bad not giving it to him. So
that's fair. I just had to
Funny caveat there. Funny caveat. Yeah. Ted, you're getting 4 NFTs tonight. No, this. Just throwing through. I stole your girl. I like that one.
There's a lot of quotes here.
I know a lot of good quotes. That's what I like doing the trivia too. When you get people to like do the answers, they either do funny ones or like, oh, that's actually profound. I like that. Good job.
Don't forget the liquor leverage ladies. Frosty.
Yeah, nobody. Oh, no. Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say nobody. I haven't seen it yet, but there you go. Literally, yep. Rugs. RHMax is softy. I did trivia I did a local meetup trivia a few weeks ago, and I went through a lot of questions. And I know some of the people watching are from there too, so I'm trying not to do all those trivia questions. But it's really hard to get ones that are like undisputable answers. I found that hard coming up with RH trivia. It's like I really need to go back and do a bunch of research, which I try not to spend very much time doing. But it's hard to have like easy trivia with really good questions that are undisputably answers. Like that's like my my bar. So I'll try harder, Ted. I'll try harder. I know you better say nice things because you're getting NFT. You want the NFT, don't you? Yeah. So the winners of tonight, Ted. What was it? What was the other person? Smiles something.
I'll find it here 1 sec.
Something about Smiles. And AC says, y'all message me, DM me, tag me on Twitter, message me, or email me, rhmaximalist@gmail, an ETH address, and I will send them your way. Did you get the other one, graphics?
Yeah, don't forget Modern Simplicity.
There we go. Yes, please speak. Please speak. There we go. Modern Simplicity, Ted and AC. Tag me on Twitter, get me to DM you, or write me an email, rhmaximalist@gmail, and I will shoot you over your brand new WAATSA NFTs. Congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to everyone for playing. That was super fun.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. It's graphics like, you guys do trivia here? This is awesome. Yeah.
This is dope.
Only with GIF so far. I've been no, actually I did it the other day. I had a wild SJ on, and for some reason, I don't know what brought it up, but we just started doing trivia. I was like, we're doing trivia today. And then it started happening, but very rare outside of the 100% uptime regular over here.
I like it. Trivia is fun, man. It brings everyone into a different frame of mind. It's a little more fun, a little more upbeat. I like it.
Bro, you wrecked me. Please, do you also want a refund on PulseChain? No, I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate you. Rich Wealth actually said a lot of cool stuff today, so I appreciate you. But you say comment. I gotta post it sometimes, man. I gotta post it.
Hex Bear.
Pretty fun, man. I get paid last. Yes,
That's fair.
Someone, please, send Cabana a message and say that he needs to get more prizes. That RHMax is giving too many prizes, and
someone tell him to give away his money.
That's so I was in somebody responded in the Hedron or Icosa chat when I posted about the NFT giveaway last time, and they're like, why are you giving it away? Do you think they're worthless or something? I'm like, no. Why would that be your conclusion, that I'm giving them away because first of all, I acquired them, so they're not worthless. Second of all, why would your conclusion be that I'm giving away worthless things that I spent money and time acquiring, and I'm spending time to come up with trivia to give them to someone else? Why would it be because I don't want them? It's not the reason, but touche. All right, man, let's wrap it up. I got dinner time coming, but what else you got, Giff? What's going on? You got any more slides? You doing you had something else, I believe, to talk about.
WAATSA. We're talking about WAATSAs right now.
What you talking about, Willis?
So yeah, total WAATSAs 22,015, which is the bottom right chart. That's hilarious. Pool size is the top chart, 21,237,361 endpoints. And then the average NFT size is 964.67 endpoints. And so cool things about these charts are basically that the pool size will only go down and to the right, along with the total WAATSas left will only go down and to the right. The worst they can do is go sideways, just very similar to how the T-share system works, except for in the other direction. And the average NFT size is very interesting because as you see these, any WAATSA NFT that gets burnt that's below 964 endpoints, right? Then the average NFT size goes up. If we start to see this chart roll over and get heavy, then that means that some of the bigger WAATSas are getting burnt. So that's essentially what you're looking for in that chart.
Cool.
But nothing really new to report. We're all just kind of grooving. I mean, there's some people that are getting a little antsy. They want to see people burning these because it makes their portion of the pool bigger. But in the long, in the grand scheme of things, this is a very long-term social experiment, really, more than anything. So this isn't going to be super exciting. Like the whole point is who can hold on the longest. So if you're feeling like you're getting bored after a month or a couple months now, I mean, you got a long ways to go. Just keep that in mind.
You can always burn it. You can always pull the plug and
always burn it.
Yep. We're going to get to under 22K, what? By the end of the month, right? Think so?
Oh, I don't know, man. It
under
really
20K by the end of the year. Some people are saying, I think I said that once. Under
there
20K by the end of the year, maybe.
All right, let's change gears a little bit. There's something I wanted to bring up and clarify because I was running around asking everybody, like when these new forks came out, right? Ethereum POW and Ethereum Fair. I was looking at the code and, you know, everyone was saying how, oh, the difficulty bomb was diffused, right? And for anybody who doesn't know what the difficulty bomb is, it was a set block number where after that block number, the difficulty level to mine a block goes astronomical, right? And so it just makes it non-feasible to mine any more blocks. So I'm thinking after these forks, if it's just like copy and paste, then isn't there still a difficulty bomb in there? Should we not still be worried that these chains will literally go to zero because there will be nobody to validate the blocks, right? So I asked around and couldn't get answers anywhere. Well, eventually I was able to find out that the difficulty bomb is the same thing as the terminal difficulty or terminal total difficulty in the code. So essentially when they said they disarmed the bomb, all they did was change it from the block number to nil in the code. So you see it here in the first box on the left, you'll see they're doing their so like bool, which Max knows is basically just like a true or false statement. So it's basically it's planning out that like, hey, we're gonna attack this and we're gonna change this. And then on the right hand side, you'll actually see it in the function of building the node. So that's a function in Solidity on the right that says function make full node with these parameters. And then you see them change or override the terminal difficulty. And then later on in more code, you see it change to nil. So I was really concerned about this, guys, and it ended up not being a big deal. But I just couldn't get an answer anywhere. So I just want to update for all those people that I DM'd. It was harassing, you know, hey, show me in the code where this is taken care of. I just want to publicly say, hey, sorry, guys. It was a nothing burger, but I've got the proof that it's nothing to worry about. Does that make sense?
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad you did the research.
Yeah. I do actually got to run though, guys. So, dude, guys, it's been great talking with you guys. Gifford, Rich, or RHM. It's been fun, guys. We'll definitely stream again soon here.
I like the Rich nickname, actually.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
that.
Yeah,
okay. I just realized I was just about to just drop that by accident, but I do.
Max, Rich, RH. I've heard it all. Let's do it.
Rick's next. Rick. I don't know.
Thanks for jumping on, Graphics. This was awesome. I really appreciate you showing up and hanging out with us.
Oh man, my pleasure. Always fun to hang with you guys. I know it's been a while, but we should try and do it another time soon here. It takes so long in between. Yeah. Oh yeah, the 6 hour one's coming up.
It's coming up.
It's happening no matter what.
Yes, of course, man.
All right, guys.
Always a pleasure to see you. Yeah, great work on the videos. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you guys too. Have a great night, guys. Have a great night.
Take care.
Nice.
All right. Good stuff. All right.
We only got that difficulty bomb. Yeah.
Last page.
A couple people in the chat were asking about Zen, and then a couple people didn't want to talk about Zen. So spicy. Let's do it.
It's spicy. You're not going to get a whole lot of opinions out of me probably, but I will say the notable data that we got coming in are really two main points. And the first one everyone's probably aware of is the top of the gas guzzler list. I mean, it went straight to number one right in the first 5 minutes of minting or claiming. So that was wild. And it's still at number one. It has used a ton of gas. Another notable thing is the chart in the middle. Whenever you see a chart where there's only buys and there's no sells, it's a scam. Okay, every time. So this scammer launched this hours before you could even claim your Zen, let alone waiting the 24 hours until the first Zen token could actually hit a market, and has absorbed. Well, this says 25K, but we're at over 30K now. So people are still going on here and buying this token that they can't sell. You buy it, you can't sell, you get rugged. This will go to zero soon. When they've sucked up as much economic energy as they possibly can, that's when you'll see that to go zero. So always make sure there's a reason when a new contract gets launched, they post that contract address everywhere. There's a reason for that. That is to let you know this is the contract address you interact with, nothing else. So you can clearly see on the far right page, you'll see the contract on the right has like 14 contracts connected to the real Zen contract. And then on the left is the fake one. And in that left one, you can see it right in the code where you can't sell it. Like it just comes in and there's no selling. So only the person who holds the keys to that contract can sell. So what do you think is going to happen? It's going to go to zero. And all the money that was put in there, all the wrapped ETH that's in there now, it's gone. It's gone. You'll never get it back. So I tweeted about this as soon as I saw it to get it out there, but I just wanted to reiterate it again, that it's there and you should be careful with that. Other than that, my only stance is it's a fantastic experiment. It's my only stance. I'm just somebody who likes to follow data. And after I follow enough data, maybe I'll have some opinions, but right now I just really don't have any.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and like I don't talk too much about it because I try to focus on RH ecosystem, but I hope it brings a lot of hexagons in. I hope it does. I mean, it's definitely had a crazy launch, like just the amount of gas guzzling, and I mean you can debate whether it's a good thing or a bad thing too, but it is popular right now, and hopefully it's bringing people into our ecosystem if nothing else. So I'll say that.
Yeah. Only time will tell. And that is it. If you guys ever want to see any, like the tweets I put out immediately when I see something change or something interesting that's happening in the market, feel free to follow me up. Find me in all these places. I don't have my own YouTube channel. Really don't have any plans to do so. I enjoy being the guest on Max's show. So that's pretty much how it's going to be for the time being.
One day you're going to get that channel, and I'm just going to be like, but can you still come on?
The only thing I've been talking about is I might end up doing a weekly show on Friday nights in the Telegram voice chat. So if anybody wants to go in real deep with me on a lot of these concepts, we'll be jumping in there and doing like a slideshow, kind of something similar to this, and going into some deep topics where you can literally ask me questions. You can type in the chat or verbally ask me questions as I'm going through this stuff, instead of having to go through the comment section here. And if you don't want to jump into there to see all that, that's fine. I'm sure you'll get replayed on YouTube under somebody's channel. But just something I've been looking at. That's probably the most interaction you'll get out of me on a regular basis.
Okay. And I threw another link in the chat too. I forgot to mention just on, I read a blog recently on claiming and minting crypto with multiple wallets. You can apply that to Zen, you can apply it to other things, but just step by step tells you how to do multi-send and stuff like that, which can be valuable for a lot of other, airdrops and stuff, and maybe in the HEX community too. But you may apply that to Zen and your strategies too. That's just something that made me think of it and think it would be relevant to write something about as well. So threw that in the chat. Check it out. Follow Gifford at GiffordWare, Twitter, Reddit, Discord, Telegram. Sounds like he's going to be going live on Telegram pretty soon. Do all the things, smash all the buttons, follow him, follow me at RHMaximalist. So glad Graphics could join us too. GIF is enough. You're enough, GIF. But if Graphics comes on, well, he can come on too to amp it up. He definitely provides some good discussion. Always good to see him and talk to him. Great guy. I really like him.
Absolutely.
So thanks everyone in the chat. Smash all the buttons. Again, tag us, retweet this, clip it, do everything you want. I'm going to call it a night. And Gifford, it's been a pleasure as always. Appreciate everything you do for the RHMax crew and family over here.
Dude, it's a blast. And again, thanks for being patient with me and getting me in here. You're not the only one that is trying to get me on stream. So I just hope you appreciate you're my first priority always.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, no, I do. I imagine not. I imagine, there's definitely people who want intelligent people who do research on their streams and talk about good stuff. for sure. So yes, warms my heart. Glad we get you on. And it's everyone. I got Jake Sharp on tomorrow, by the way. I said that at the beginning, but that should be a fun show. Talk about a lot of fun stuff outside of Hedron and Maximus, and man, a lot to digest. Everyone, if you came in halfway through, you may want to rewind and watch this one. Like, this is a special episode.
I'll clip it out and tweet it to me. I'd love to see that. So
yes,
definitely. If you found any of this informative, just clip some of it out, tag us. It's a good time. If
you don't tag us, it'll be very hard for us to find it. Sometimes I go on people's channel and they've clipped conversations with me in it, but they don't tag me. So I'm like, like a month ago, I didn't ever see it. So please tag us if you want us to, retweet it and stuff like that, all those things. So appreciate everyone. I'll see everyone in about 14 hours or so. My time, 9:30 Pacific tomorrow. I'll be on with Jake, and we will get into the weeds as well. Gifford, any last words?
That's it. Keep your eyes open. Don't go anywhere. This is the funnest bear market we've ever seen, and it's only going up from here.
Scivive and 5555.